Hey lovelies, happy Saturday. If you're watching on a Saturday, come and say hello. I'm streaming live again. I'm getting good at this. I'm getting in my flow. The more consistently we do something, the easier it gets. So I've come to talk about something I am extremely passionate about, and how this can be a huge shift in your business, in your success, and not only that, in your entire freaking life. So let me see who's here live. While we're waiting, I'm just going to have a quick little look. Okay, I'm in there. Am I on my profile? Okay, so you've probably seen it. Oh no, success doesn't come without this. I actually haven't even told you what it doesn't come with. It doesn't come without this. It does come, but it's going to be hard, and you're going to end up burning out. You're going to end up with overwhelm. You're going to end up with stress. You're going to end up with like a really stressful nervous system. So at the top of your success journey comes self-care. And a lot of people forget this. I hear it a lot. I hear about people being burnt out. I hear about people, being stressed, giving up because it's too hard. So I wanted to talk about some little tools and techniques that I put in place to keep my health in tip-top shape, because ultimately our health has to come first. Before everything else, we want to put our mind, our body, our soul, and all of that stuff in a position so when you step into the business mind, or you step into the business strategies and all of this stuff, that you're coming at it from a place of calmness. You don't want to keep burning out. So this is a little tool that I do. Well, there's a few. So firstly, I have a morning routine. Do you have a morning routine? How do you start your day? And I'm sure you've heard about morning routines before, but honestly, it's a biggie. The most important time of the day is what you do when you wake up. Are you doing something for your body? Are you doing something for your mind? Are you fueling yourself with nutrition and all of this stuff? Because that is going to have a huge impact on your focus, on your productivity, on your energy levels, on everything else to come, because everything is like a little knock-on effect. So if you started your day, I've done this like in the past, not for long, because I really got myself out of it. I'm gonna like I'm just so open, just so freaking open. So I would say 15 years ago, I used to wake up and I'd watch Jeremy Kyle. Honestly, it did nothing. I'm laughing at myself. Full confession there. It did absolutely nothing. After that, there was no like drive in me to like get stuff done, and there was no drive to have this entrepreneurship mindset and create a successful business. I just stepped into pure drama mode, and nothing wrong with people if you do that, but it's probably not the best thing to do when you first wake up in the morning. However, if I wake up in the morning or if you wake up in the morning, you might practice some gratitude. Take a moment to take some gratitude. You might do some journaling. You might have a nice glass of water. You might take yourself for a walk. You might do some exercise. You might read something, take in some knowledge. Now, can you see how that's going to make a huge difference? That's self-care. And that self-care is going to make your success flow with much more ease. So how do you start your day? Do you put self-care as a priority? Because it is. It is. Like, this is why in my membership, so it's Magnetize Your Message membership, it's about marketing, it's about messaging, it's about visibility, it's about mindset. But I still do a yoga class in there once a week because I really want to support everybody in there, and ultimately it's good for me as well, how putting self-care at the top of our success journey is priority. Because if you're not well and you're not healthy and you're not in your fully like focused, if you're not doing it to the best of your abilities, it's going to take you more time. It's going to take you more energy. It's going to have its toll on your body. It's going to have its toll on your health. And we don't want success to do that. We want success to be a journey that's fun, hey? We all have this reason or this why and this mission behind our journey, our heart-led business. So you want that to be enjoyable. So self-care first. Okay, this is another little thing that I do. And I learned this from a book that I read a couple of years ago, and I kind of molded it and made it my own. So I call these my little transition points. And there are freaking hundreds of them in the day. So they're ultimately like, if you do yoga, if any of you do yoga, and please write in the chat. I'd love to know who's watching. Write in the chat. It will show up on my sidebar. So if you do yoga, at the end of every yoga class, you do a position called Shavasana. And it literally means corpse pose. Corpse. It's kind of like you just lie in this state of complete surrender. And why do you go into this state of complete surrender? Because what you're actually doing, you've done your... Maybe you might have done an asana, which is like a physical movement practice. You might have done a meditation practice. You might have done some breath work or something. And then you go into this sweet state of stillness. Because what you're doing is you're letting that bit go. You come into a place of like presence and it is what it is. And then when you come into the next bit, you're going to be open, you're going to be clear, and you're going to be able to do things in a much better way. So I do this as a transition point in between everything I do. So if I was to first thing in the morning, well, I do content in the morning because it's when I'm at my most creative. Do you know when you're at your most creative? Have you ever tried to explore what time it is? Like this little creative mind is like in full flow. Utilize that and use that in your business because again, that's an energy saver. So I will do some creation. And I will commit to creation. And then after that, I come to a transition point. Creation is finished. I come to a transition point before I step into maybe I have some admin to do. So I'm not going to go creation to admin, admin to strategy, strategy to design, design to this. I'm going to put a tiny little transitional break in between each one. And it's kind of like just pushing a reset button. And simply do this. There's many ways you can do this. You could literally stand up, take a walk around your garden, stand up, have a glass of water, stop, breathe, have a little egg timer, a 1 minute egg timer or a 3 minute egg timer. Be really mindful in the moment, take some breaths and clear that part or that task or that part of the day out. And then you step into the next part. So for me, I like to get up, I go and stand on the grass and I ground myself. I'm not going overly woo-woo or I'll go and play with Nami, but I will stop. And I will tell myself I'll stop for 5 minutes. Because if I stop for too long, then it's kind of like I go on that dip and it's harder to come back up. So I'm putting self-care in my business system and everything that I do. I have these pockets of self-care in between, and that's how I get so much done, and that's how you can get so much done. Let's say you say, I'm going to spend 2 hours a day. You might say to yourself, I'm going to spend 2 hours a day this next 7 days committing to my business. So what are you going to do in those 2 hours? And rather than drain yourself, and at the end of 2 hours or after 1 hour, you feel yourself kind of like flagging, is that even a word? You kind of might feel yourself sort of like deflating a little bit and your brain power is getting a little bit tired because you've been so focused. Would it not be better to do 15 minutes, 3 minute break, 15 minutes, 3 minute break, 15 minutes, 3 minute break? And you are putting it into small sections. And what are you doing in those breaks? How are you going to recharge your battery? How are you going to put some self-care? Go and wash your face. Have a piece of fruit. Go and do a little bit of yoga. Do some breathing exercises. Write down some gratitude. Do some affirmations. But bring self-care to the forefront. We start with self-care, and then the rest is so much easier when you follow. Let me see if anybody's commented. I can't see any comments yet. So let me know, what sort of self-care do you put self-care? Do you think of self-care being a part of success? What self-care practices do you put into your day? Sometimes if I need a bit of a bigger self-care practice, I'll go for a walk with Nami. I'll take an afternoon stroll. And honestly, you take an afternoon stroll, creativity comes full back in flow. And yeah, it really helps to get stuff done. So always start. I have affirmation cards here, actually. Affirmation cards. I will start with an affirmation card. I have oils also. Just hoping I'm not popping out there. Oils. And I will stop something. One affirmation. This is for all of us. I am thriving. It's mirrored. And in all ways, have a bit of my mental clarity, step into the next bit, do 15, 20 minutes. I can work a little bit longer because I've kind of been doing this and I do big self-care practices. And then a part of self-care as well is clear boundaries. When are you switching off? Are you switching off? Switch off, switch off, switch off. So stop work. If somebody messages you, you don't have to respond. You have to set clear boundaries. That is part of self-care. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Self-care is a priority. Self-care is not the last thing on the agenda. Self-care is the first thing on the agenda, and everything else follows, and it will be so much easier. Let me know what are your self-care practices, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. So it's 3 p.m. now. Boundaries are in place. I'm switching off. I'm taking my little fluffy out. We're going to go for a walk, and we're going to go for some dinner out. So ciao, ciao, ciao.